Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Han Solo here. In fact, you can refer to me as Han Solo. We do not have any video for now, so we're still working on that. But this is the Conscious Corner right here. Podcast for the youth, by the youth. We're looking at conspiracies, we're looking at current affairs, we're looking at every issue that is going on in South Africa with the third eye, the view of the youth, something that has never been done before. But with all that being said, we gotta start this shit the right way being with some awesome music. We've got a music video here by Sleazy World Go. It says I want blood. Let's go. What's going on with our sound system here?
I want blood. If we can't get to his bitch ass, then we gon' kill his cuz. Appreciate the diamonds, cause I got this shit out the mud. Trap nigga turn rapper, I used to say you niggas bug. Now I'm richer than every chopper up in my motherfucking hood. Them niggas ain't show me love, but it's all motherfucking good. Drake made him go night-night, so I nicknamed the chopper Shug. Blow down on him with this switch, shell so nice, gave him a hug. I'm the reason you niggas ate and you niggas good. I'm the reason you niggas ever had a motherfucking buzz. I'm the reason you niggas ever had a motherfucking first young nigga in my city to pull out 3 million in cash. Niggas don't mention my name because we get on niggas' ass. Yeah, we put belt today behind. This a track I'm doing a dash if the police ever get behind. I'm doing a dash, police behind this bitch. It's a track I'm doing a dash, police ever get behind. I can't show a bitch my hand cause I don't know who these hoes be fucking. Pillow talking ass niggas on the topic of discussion. I ain't no trick these hoes to tell you I ain't giving a bitch nothing. All these diamonds round my neck, her pussy wet and I ain't even touch it. I ain't even had to put my hands on it. Anything come out my mouth, you better know that I'm gon' stand on it. Nigga, anything come out my mouth, you better know that I'm gon' stand on it. Yeah. I want blood.
Alright. Let's go. Shout out to Sleazy World Go. That's his latest single out, I believe. I Want Blood. And I feel like that represents the first episode for the Vox Populi, which is a podcast for the youth by the youth. Now let's jump into it, gang. The first thing we're gonna do is check out the news channel. First one being SABC News. Now I know everyone has their own opinion about this. I have my own opinion, which is I think SABC News is either pushing what, and okay, let's break it down. So you in my view, or in my opinion, the word propaganda should mean that if any media or if any point of information distribution is controlled and overlooked by the government, or how can I say it, supervised by the government, it should be considered propaganda. But let's see what Google has to say about propaganda. What does it mean? Propaganda is communication primarily used to influence or persuade an audience to adopt a specific viewpoint or agenda. You see, now who normally does that? People that normally want to rule. Who's in power? Who's ruling right now? The government. So yeah, that's my opinion. But shout out to SAPC News, by the way. They have some, decent information they're pushing out, but I also believe that they're pushing out a lot of fake news or fake views, by the way. But let's look at the latest shit that got out. Okay, let's from 31 seconds ago. Sophie Mukwena on Zuma's endorsement of Morocco. Right. So let's jump into it and we'll try to break it down a bit further.
To other news now, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says Jacob Zuma's recognition of Morocco comes as no surprise after photos emerged of the MK party leader in Morocco with the South African flag behind him. Mbalula has reaffirmed the ANC's unwavering support for Western Sahara's self-determination, a stance Morocco rejects despite widespread condemnation across Africa and the AU. Well, the ANC adopted this policy at its 2007 Polokwane conference when Zuma became party president and reaffirmed it in 2012. During his tenure, the ANC consistently backed Western Sahara's independence. Well, joining us now for more on this is SABC News international editor Sophie Mukwena. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Could this cause diplomatic friction between South Africa and Morocco, or even within the African Union?
Yes, it will, because what happened is that the South African flag was used, and in this case, Morocco, the people who were doing setup did that. The intention was clear to
Okay, now for those that don't know or for those that haven't done their homework yet, I suggest you do. But basically, the Morocco and West African shit has been going on for quite some time now. Some of us weren't even born that time. But to put it, in a nutshell, up top they've been fighting for quite some time. Basically for a lot of shit, a lot of reasons. Do your homework on that. And while they're fighting, I believe there was two resolutions. One came up with Morocco. I don't remember the other one's name, but the one that came up with Morocco basically was in 2006 and 2007, which speculated that they wanna I think by then they had a ceasefire or some type of resolution when this one came out. So they were like, you know what, okay, we like what's going on. Let's stop the war and let's become one, basically. And then we would share 50-50 of everything, but we as Morocco, we will rule the arms and the defense, which kind of sounded, a bit shaky because why would you want access to all the guns, you know, while still claiming this is peace. So that was going on. So Jacob Zuma now being the MK leader, going to Morocco and showing support to that, is considered being a traitor because the Sahrawians have been allied with the ANC and most of the other democratic leadership in Africa. So, and the Sahrawians are the ones that have been fighting with Morocco. So apparently, many of the reasons that they've been fighting for are basically because of them being oppressed or shown or shunned upon by the Moroccans. So it's kind of shaky. So yeah, but we know what's going on. We know what's going on. Zuma is there for money, you know. The more finance he has, the more influence he can gather by pushing his own agenda, bribing a lot of people, bribing a lot of influential figures, to push out his word, and hence gaining a lot of traction while he's at it. So, I mean, it's even in the name. MK is, we all know what that is. But yeah, yeah, next. 2 minutes ago, Tembisa tariff strike, protesting residents demand fair billing. Okay, so it's basically about electricity. Let's check. Let's see.
Now, leading our bulletin this hour, Ekurhuleni Mayor Nkosindiphile Qhakaza has arrived in Tembisa to address protesting residents. Now, earlier this morning, police fired rubber bullets to disperse angry crowds at Kumulong section. The residents are protesting over electricity tariff hikes. Disgruntled community members went on the rampage, barricading roads with rocks and burning tires. Now, in April, Eskom increased its electricity tariffs by close to 13%, and municipal customers saw an 11.32% increase starting from July the 1st. Several vehicles, including a minibus taxi, have been damaged. All right, now for the latest, we cross live to SABC News reporter Balelhle Mthethwa, who is in Tembisa for us this afternoon. Good afternoon, Balelhle. We understand that the Mayor Qhakaza is expected to arrive and address community members. Has this happened, or is he yet to address the community members?
Well, he has arrived and he was met by angry protesters, thousands of people, hundreds of well, the number is unclear, but a large number of people, which you could say are almost 1,000 people, were stationed outside the venue where he was due to speak to them. And unfortunately, he was supposed to address them inside the community hall here in Rabasuthu, but he has gone inside. But the crowd and the number of people who have gathered here outside of that venue are so many that they will not all be able to fit inside this community, the community hall. The police are concerned that this could cause a stampede. There were people who started running inside as soon as they saw the mayor making his way inside. But many of them have started gathering in front of the steps. I'm going to step out of the shot just to show.
Okay, so yeah, it's just basically people protesting about Eskom tariff prices. They've been hiked, they've been checked, they've been, checked up for a while now. There's a lot around this, but to be quite frank, I believe Eskom is doing this because they're, one, really, they owe a lot of, the municipalities are owing a lot of money, they're owing a lot of money. So tariff hikes are that. Man. Another one of Tembisa tariff hikes. Malema says EFF is open to negotiations to join the GNU. Okay.
In other news now, EFF leader Julius Malema has maintained that his party is open to negotiations to join the GNU if the DA was to exit. He says they cannot be part of the GNU while the DA is still in it. He's also slammed MK party leader Jacob Zuma over his recent visit to Morocco. He was speaking during his court appearance in the East London Regional Court.
Well, the GNU is an issue that we'll debate on a separate day because we must look at this development very closely. Today we are awaiting President's response because we wrote a legal letter to him asking him to withdraw the appointment of Kachalia as acting minister because it's not allowed. The constitution is very clear. You appoint an acting minister from amongst cabinet colleagues. That's why you can't even appoint a deputy minister as an acting minister because it's not a cabinet member, whereas with someone from outside. So that alone is out. And if he doesn't respond positively, we're going to take him directly to the Constitutional Court because we didn't want to jump the gun. We wanted to give him an opportunity to reconsider his decisions. If he continues in the manner he wants to continue, that makes him a constitutional delinquent. And we might have to consider those issues at a later stage when we deal with these matters of the GNU. It's for the DA to decide whether they want to walk out of the GNU or not. But our stance is very clear. We can't go into coalition with the DA.
All right. So There's a lot about Juju Malema. Shout out to Juju Malema though. Shout out to Juju Malema. SA about to receive some heavy tariffs right now because of the movement is pushing. Look, I want to stay in context, but I just want to share my own opinion about like his battles and stuff. The whole movement is pushing. All the other notes on his manifesto are nice. I mean, land back to ownership, and then people who don't want to own, they get compensated. A lot of shit, and then you find his main headline being what it is, and then you find Trump saying, if you don't stop that, like he basically defined it as a genocide, which is what Malema is pushing of, kill the poor, kill the farmers, which is, hence I'm saying all the other side notes in his manifesto, 100%, and I'm for them, but how he's coming with it is, a bit, yeah. That's my 2 cents on the matter. So back to context now. The GNU. Let's do our homework on the GNU. So he's saying he'll join the GNU if the DA will walk out. Why? The Government of National Unity. The GNU refers to the Government of National Unity in South Africa, formed after the 2024 general election. It's a coalition government involving multiple political parties aiming to address the country's challenges. Oh, I remember. Oh, no, okay. So that's what they're calling it now, the GNU, the Government of National Unity. The GNU was established following the 2024 election, where no single party secured a majority in parliament. Damn. Purpose: it was formed to foster unity and cooperation among various political parties to govern the country. Key players: several parties include the African National ANC, DA, Inkatha, Good, Patriotic Alliance. Okay. So it's a lot. So EFF is not part of the GNU. And it's saying it will join the GNU should the DA walk out. Okay. What might that? I'll think about that one for a second. And he's also touching on the Zuma Morocco thing, which is, yeah, I've already shared my 2 cents on that. South African under-20 rugby team arrive at OR Tambo Airport. Okay, shout out to the Box. Jaden Meek's murder. Tiffany Meek returns to court for bail hearing. Here's a story. I don't know what you think.
Just pop you over to the Rhodoport Magistrates Court now. That's where Tiffany Meek, the woman accused of murdering her own son, is continuing with her bail application. Proceedings have...
Woman accused of murdering her own son. That's crazy work right there. That is crazy. Man, how do you murder your own son? No ways. That can't be true, man. And shout out to the Conscious Corner. We have a huge spiel. A huge spiel where we're trying to connect about human trafficking in South Africa, and especially child abduction. So we're trying to connect some thoughts, trying to establish some facts, and we'll come to you with the full spill soon, guys. So keep your ears on the ground. We're gonna drop some crazy shit in a minute.
Just pop you over to the Rhodoport Magistrates Court now. That's where Tiffany Meek.
Ah, come on, bro.
Woman accused of murdering her own son is continuing with her bail application. Proceedings have just about kicked off. Let's listen in.
Thank you. A few names for the record, please.
My name is Malema.
Any objection to the police flag oath?
No objection, no objection.
You consider the police flag oath binding on your conscience?
I do.
Therefore, swear that if you about to plead, give you the truth, and the truth, nothing else but what you say, so help me God.
Help me God.
Thank you, State.
As a court business. Say, is it correct then that you are a member of the South African Police Services?
That is correct.
Where are you stationed?
I am stationed at Florida.
And how long have you been a member of the South African Police Services?
It's 20 years.
What is your rank?
I am a station officer.
And what are your duties?
My duties is to investigate criminal activities in all crime codes that are reported.
Is it correct then that you are the investigating officer in this matter?
That is correct.
Very well. Okay. Now, before we get into the merits of the matter, let's just get through what I call housekeeping issues. Firstly, the accused, does the accuser, what am I saying, the applicant, does she have previous convictions or any pending cases according to the investigation?
No previous convictions. The only case that we have is this case on him.
Only this case as a pending. Okay. Yeah, now, according when the applicant was arrested, her address was given as number 13 Swazi Place.
So basically, when last time I briefly heard about this is a lady that was being accused of murdering her own son. The son was kidnapped, I think, when he was coming back from school. He never made it home, I think, and then his body was found near the mother's apartment. Some crazy shit like that, man. And then they arrested her, for the murder. Yeah. See, when it comes to things like this, I usually get a whole lot of questions, and there might be no answers to those questions. So yeah, RIP to the child, and I hope justice is served and the truth comes out. And hence I get mixed feelings because when the truth isn't out yet, you don't have answers to those questions I was talking about. Then yeah. Next, and To hypocrisy heroes, welcome. Fly, safe, fair, pilot strike. Okay. Tembisa tariff again. Tembisa tariff interview to fill IEC vacancies underway. Interviews. What the hell? Foot and mouth disease in Daba. Hazen delivers keynote address. This is 4 hours ago. What the fuck is foot and mouth disease?
Let's take you to this news on the go. The Agricultural Department, in collaboration with a number of other bodies, is hosting a high-level national foot and mouth disease indaba. Speaking there is Agricultural Minister John Steenhuisen. Let's listen in.
More important, given the issues that we currently face with the export systems, particularly as it relates to the United States of America. Another crucial area where the system has not worked during the recent outbreak was vaccine availability. The National FMD Vaccine Bank was depleted, the production cycle misaligned with outbreak realities, and most notably, honest to put, biological products currently lacks the infrastructure to produce FMD vaccines at the scale and speed required to respond to outbreaks. As a result, we were compelled to import vaccines from Botswana to mount a response. Now, this situation can only be viewed as a stopgap measure, but cannot be viewed as sustainable for a country with South Africa's livestock footprint and the export ambitions that we have for the red meat industry in South Africa. Government is taking this seriously, and we are stabilizing OBP, but that is going to take some time. In the interim, we are securing imports and working to establish forward-looking supply contracts that will ensure minimum stock levels of FMD vaccine and other...
Okay. So they're basically talking about a livestock disease called the foot and mouth disease. Let's do homework on that, because your boy is not a farmer. The foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease is a severe, highly contagious viral disease affecting livestock like cattle, swine, and sheep, and it is distinct from hand, foot, and mouth disease, which affects humans, primarily children. While FMT is not a human health risk, it is a significant economic impact due to the effect on animal production and trade. Hand, foot, and mouth disease, on the other hand, is a common childhood illness causing sores in the hand and causing sores in the mouth and on hands and feet. The affects livestock, particularly cloven-hooved animals like cattle, swine, sheep, and goats. Symptoms in animals: fever, sore mouth, excessive salivation, lameness, and blisters on the feet and mouth. Transmission: highly contagious, spreading through direct contact, contaminated feed, and environmental factors like wind and water. Impact: significant economic losses due to decreased livestock production, trade restrictions, and costs associated with disease control. Damn. So cows are getting foot and mouth disease because apparently, I don't know if it's the tariffs or what, or after COVID, but we haven't had the reserves for handling this foot and mouth disease. Can cattle die from foot and mouth disease? While foot and mouth disease is rarely fatal in adult livestock, it can be deadly for young. Oh shit! So morbidity, is it morbidity? Damn. Morbidity, sickness rate is very... Oh, so that's sickness rate. Oh, morbidity is a sickness rate. Damn, you learn a new word every damn day. That's how morbid you are, nigga. You are very low. You are very high morbid. I'm very high morbid. my sickness rate is very, very, very high. I get sick very easily. Morbidity rate is very high in infected herds, potentially reaching 100%, but mortality death rate is generally low in adults, typically between 1% and 5%. However, young animals can experience high mortality rates, potentially reaching 20% or higher, often due to complications like myocarditis or starvation from inability to nurse. Okay, so this thing is not fatal on adults, but can kill kids of animals, livestock. Okay, so that they won't feel it now, but they'll feel the pain, a year or 2 years later, when they have, no young or, cattle, because all the young cattle that are, all the children, all the kids now that are supposed to be young by then will be dead. I don't know. I have to sit and, put air in the crowd and see where this goes. Yeah, I heard the water supply in Gauteng is not compliant, and there's a lot of things going on up there, and there was E. coli in the water, I assume. Yeah, so there's a lot of shit going on up there, and it's crazy work. So as I said, I have to put my ear on the ground, find out, see where this rabbit hole goes. More on the Chembisa strike, more on the pilot strike. Kaizer Chiefs, New Jersey, fake news. Okay, it's out, but I believe that they directing us to some other shit. Technology, parents urged to monitor children's WhatsApp account. I believe children shouldn't have WhatsApp. If your child has a phone, you should just call them. If they want to play games as well, play games. Never have your children have WhatsApp. Never have your children any social, any app that that connects the children to the internet that you cannot supervise or overlook or oversee or whatever, that gives you great power of restriction. Don't let your children use. But different views are allowed on that. CETA's alleged financial mismanagement and corruption. Okay, impact on you.
Now, the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Nabuk Denkabane, has come under fire from the public and the Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Higher Education for the delay in appointing the new board chairpersons for the 21 sector education and training authorities, or SETAs. Now, this
sector education and training authorities. Come on with it. We are a bit further out, so the Wi-Fi isn't a bit good. Let me try to restart this router. I hope it doesn't take a while.
ongoing allegations of financial mismanagement and corruption at SETAs continue to surface, exposing the dire state of the sector. An article published by the Sunday Times yesterday alleges that irregularities in the appointment and procurement process of a biometric system worth 13 million rand have been siphoned out of the embattled Construction Education and Training Authority. In response to our interview request, the Construction Education and Training Authority said they will not be granting interviews as the matter has now become legal and is before the courts. But to discuss the state of SETAs and the impact on youth skills development, we are joined by Wayne Duvenage. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the organisation Undoing Tax Abuse, or OUTA. Wayne, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us on the programme.
Hi there, nice to be with you.
Incredibly damning allegations in the Sunday Times yesterday, talking of irregularities in the appointment and procurement process of 2 contracts, basically involving 13 million rand regarding a biometric system. Talk to us about this. This is very concerning.
Yeah, it is. And in fact, it started out at services sector prior to it then finding its way into the construction sector. If we go back to 2018, 3 whistleblowers came to our offices then and exposed what was happening with Grace and Reed and a number of applicants. And some of those services and items were never even delivered. And we can see this plan and this network of corruption across many sectors, by the way. We've seen links to the insurance sector, construction sector, as you say, services sector, ETDP sector. The 21 sectors, not all of them are implicated in such corruption, but the network is very wide, and it is costing this country billions of rands over a number of years. And this expose in the Sunday Times on the construction sector is just one of many. So it is damning. It is having a serious effect on the amount of money that should be going to, upliftment of the youth and development and training. And sadly, Leanne,
You know what's crazy about this? Is that I won't say if these allegations are true. Okay, let's say if these allegations are true, then these same people be the ones that be complaining about the youth being lazy, the youth being hooked on drugs, the youth, because aces to spades, the same people that are squabbling this pause, the same people that are chowing this money are having links and cahoots with the same people that sell drugs in this country, the same people commissioning shootings in this country, the same people that are abducting kids in this country for bad, and all this crazy shit. So yeah, man. Again, we are cooking a massive child abduction spill. That's been going on in South Africa for a while. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's a lot, guys. It's a lot. So this adding to that, we are moving in the wrong direction. But shout out to people that are working overtime to air this shit out. Especially with this whole police thing going on. If you don't know, do your homework on the allegations of the leader of the police in criminal activity. How crazy is that? Anyway, let's continue next. But we'll also keep our ear on the ground for the CETA alleged financial mismanagement and corruption. Let's move on. Pokanoka Memorial Lecture, bottom line, June, consumer inflation expected to rise slightly. Damn, weekend sport rep, Gaza death toll 58,000 amid Israeli attacks. God damn. Okay, we're just trying to keep it local for now, but we see what's happening up there. Okay, so that's basically it, because now I'm seeing yesterday's news basically. Alright, so let's jump ship. Let's go to the ENCA. Now, shout out to Liquid AV. He calls he has different views on the news. He calls SAPC the our news, the black people news, and then he calls ENCA the white people news. Crazy view, but you can tell me what you think. But here is ENCA not being a government entity, not getting funding from the government. This is just a straight news channel that delivers hardcore content. Yeah, it doesn't beat around the bush, no fear, no favor, and I believe they are, they still uphold what journalism should be in South Africa. So let's get right to it. What have they got going on down here? Shit, they've also got yesterday's news down here. They haven't got nothing. No. They haven't got nothing recent. Alright. We'll check later on. Let's check out Newsroom Africa. Uh, 33 minutes ago, efforts to facilitate payment of salaries at Durban Special Needs School. What the fuck?
Staff at the Golden Hour Special Needs School claim they have ongoing issues of their salaries not being paid. They say they didn't get any payments for May and June. Newsroom Africa Siletiwe in Glovo is at the school this morning and joins us now. What's the latest, Siletiwe?
What we can tell you, Iman, is that, of course, the implications are far wide. And that's the conversation that we're going to have now with the PSA's Mlungisi Ndlovu. I want to start off by the support staff at this particular school.
It has a huge impact because as PSA we believe that you cannot have a school that is unable to pay the workers. So we are saying a school governing board have a responsibility of paying them. PSA intervened in April because they only paid them 40%. When we approached CCMA, we were able to settle the matter. They made commitment that they will be able to pay them. They did not pay them in June, and we're not sure whether they will be able to pay them in July. So it is a crisis because they are unable to support their own families. They are unable even to report for duty. These are the lower level employees that depend on their salaries. So this is a crisis. That's why as PSA we have came here to say this must end. On Friday must pay all their outstanding money. They must give assurance that they will be able to pay them in future.
Have you tried having a conversation with the school? And what is that conversation? What are they saying about the ongoing payment issues?
So there's been an engagement as PSA with the school governing body. The issue.
Okay, so basically here, teachers haven't been paid. The whole spiel. Money missing, money being chowed. Interesting. Pay the damn teachers, man. What the hell? Defense budget not enough. Now this is an interesting one. Before we start, I wanna say some shit. I also believe that defense budget is not enough. I mean, you have our defense budget, as you know, this country down south, South Africa. Shout out. The defense budget is not enough because you have countries like America spending that much on defense and therefore inventing and acquiring modern day weapons while they're at it. And then you have our countries like us depending on, you know, these so-called superpowers to give us protection. I'm not saying that my country is weak defense-wise, but you know, we have our flaws. So an update of technology wouldn't be bad, and more hardcore type training to, you know, like simulation type training to expose our troops to like normal conditions of war, or so to speak. But yeah, that's another spiel right there. So yeah, the defense, but in a country like this one where money aren't enough, money aren't always enough, and even if it is enough, they still squander it anyway. So yeah, it's true.
National Treasury over who's to blame for the military's chronic budget woes. Admiral Mondelo Besi says Treasury is sabotaging the SANDF. It's a claim that the National Treasury has flatly rejected. They say that the Defence Force must fix its own internal problems. Of course, there's a deeper crisis behind these headlines: aging personnel, outdated structures, and billions that have been lost to mismanagement. Let's talk now to Songezo Zibi, the chairperson of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts, this is Scopa, who says simply that throwing more money at the military without reform is going to be a grave mistake. Songeza, good morning to you. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much for your time. We heard there what Admiral Lubesi has said, publicly blaming the National Treasury for sabotaging the SANDF. You're arguing that this narrative oversimplifies the issue. Do you believe the Treasury is being scapegoated? What is the actual process here behind these decisions about granting or denying military budgets?
Good morning, Iman. Yes, I think it's being overly scapegoated here by the Admiral, and I think the Treasury is an easier target because then he doesn't get into trouble with the President because he is the Commander-in-Chief, and that is whom he should direct his unhappiness at. That Commander-in-Chief is also the Chairperson of Cabinet, and it is Cabinet that approves the budget for tabling to Parliament. So to simply blame the National Treasury is actually disingenuous in my view. What is true, however, is that the Defence Force is chronically underfunded. I've said this many, many times. So what is saying objectively in terms of the Defence Force needing more resources is really true. Because every time there's been a budget cut over the last 15 to 20 years, the Defence Force has borne the brunt of that because South Africans for a long time have not believed that we should fund the Defence Forces at all. And we're beginning to see the outcome of that.
Well, let's go to what you're saying, and I think you've also paraphrased it as a financial horror story, what's happening there. What does it mean for the average South African, and why then should Parliament be cautious about increasing funding under these conditions?
So the first thing, Iman, is in fact just three things quickly. The first one is that one of the things that needs to be done, or two of the things that need to be done in the Defence Force, just in terms of what it needs, is younger personnel. A lot of the fighting...
Yo, shout out. Younger personnel. Repeat that. Younger personnel. I'm not saying there's a problem with the soldiers, but what did they say earlier? More intense training. Even if the troops age, but they have what they got what it takes to, fight some motherfuckers. But yeah, shout out to this guy, indicating the obvious problem, stating the obvious. And I think this links back to what we watched recently about the CETA shit. People, eating money to develop youth skills and stuff. I feel like there's a whole lot that can happen in the private sector whereby we militarize these security companies, hence trying to privatize our own defense in a way. I mean, in America you have funded militias that are not exactly terrorizing the country, but they are protecting their own assets and their own people, so to speak. So I don't know, Viper ATT, if you're listening, free advice. Moving right along. If you're noticing the patterns, always money missing, people supporting the wrong ideology, fake news, and just bullshit content. More on the Zuma Morocco shit, fly say fast, and strikes. Utilized to meet Kennedy Road fire victims. There was fires in South Africa. Okay, there's always fires in South
Natal
Africa.
MEC, the KwaZulu-Natal Cogta MEC, is expected to meet with residents of the Kennedy Road informal settlement following a deadly fire that gutted over 120 structures. Newsroom Africa's Pila Mtembu is there and brings us the latest now. Pila, good morning. Talk to us about how this all happened and the impact.
Good morning to you, Iman. So we are coming to you live from the Kennedy Road informal settlement. And if you can see just behind me, some devastating aftermath as over 120 structures were razed to the ground early in the Saturday morning, rather in the early hours of Saturday morning. And these are the remains, really. If I might just allow my colleague Tatuba Kedube to show you, you'd actually see quite a number of dwellers who are now trying to put together what they can. What you're seeing now, those are building efforts, Iman. We understand that some of them actually had to dig deep in their own pockets to buy some of the material that they can utilize in order to put this together. But also, going back to the early hours of Saturday morning, we understand that a 25-year-old woman as well as a 19-month-old baby actually died from that blaze. There have been quite a number of conflicting reports. We had the KZN Human Settlements Department saying that the fire was actually started by a candle which was left unattended, but then we also had a report.
Yo. History repeats itself. These unattended candles and shit and all of these stuff that people don't take care of. Man, people have died from all of that shit, man. Come on, bro. There've been countless inventions by countless individuals to make sure that people prevent shit like that. But no, you got people always, doing shit like this. Come on. Come the fuck on. Okay. Okay, Springbok, KZN special needs school staff. Okay, the unpaid people. Pay the fucking staff. Tembisa residents filed to continue protest. Okay, the people that, electricity terrorists. Daybreak Foods had no other option but to file for business rescue.
Investment Corporation, Africa's largest asset manager, has invested an additional 150 million rand in Daybreak Foods, bringing its total investment to 1.7 billion. The PIC now owns 100% of the company, which has struggled with poor financial management and corruption. A business rescue plan is expected by August, which aims to turn the company around and avoid liquidation. For more on this, we are now joined by Gareth Freeman. He is a commercial and business rescue lawyer. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. So there's been a lot of news around what's happening at Daybreak, but what do you make of the latest development from last week?
Look, certainly, if you look at the life of Daybreak, you need to look at the historical issues that it was plagued by. And coupled with that is, you need to ask the question, is business rescue the suitable vehicle for an entity that is in severe financial distress? And the answer to that in the life of Daybreak is yes. The other option for Daybreak at the time was a liquidation. And liquidation certainly would not be viable. At Daybreak Farm itself is sitting with approximately 2,800 employees, and there are ongoing supply chains directly below that. So certainly business rescue would have been the suitable alternative when the company found itself with its back against the wall.
Yeah, and now with this move, does it make things a bit better for the outlook for Daybreak?
So certainly
with the PIC's injection.
So certainly it needs money, it needs capital injection. And one of the difficulties we saw prior to Daybreak filing for business rescue was lack of liquidity. There was no cash flow coming into Daybreak, so to speak. And it was plagued with a number
All right. Let's find out about this Daybreak shit. Daybreak Foods. Let's do some digging. Daybreak Foods, founded in 2001, began as a small-scale poultry operation with a vision to provide high-quality, nutritious eggs and poultry products. Why would I be looking for vacancies when I'm hearing liquidations? Okay, about. So we're gonna try to do our own mini investigation to find out who these niggas are, who owns it, who funds it, and try to figure out what it really does, because things are never what they seem. Okay, Daybreak Foods, founded in 2001, began a small-scale poultry operation with a vision to provide high-quality nutritious eggs and poultry products. Operating across Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and KwaZulu-Natal, Daybreak Foods provides a wide range of poultry products. Through dedication and a commitment to excellence, Daybreak Foods has grown into a prominent player in the poultry industry. Our journey has been marked by continuous innovation, sustainability efforts, and a focus on delivering the best to our customers. Today, Daybreak Foods stand as a testament to hard work, resilience, and a relentless pursuit of quality, proudly serving communities with products they can trust. Blah 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 blah. How to make it happen? Daybreak Food is one of the largest. So they farming chickens for eggs. Chicken, the biggest animal in the world, the only animal in the world to provide acid and mucus at the same time. Shout out to the Maverick approach for that spiel. So obviously this is either owned by blacks, for blacks, or this is owned for the blacks. They know how to feed us. Okay. So I guess that's why there's corruption involved. Oh, there's tenders. Ooh. Okay. Never say, it doesn't say who funds them though. Never says. Let's check corporate governance. Maybe there's something there. Come on. Structure. Government employees pension fund. Our structure. Oh, yeah, yep. This is what we're looking for. So the government employees pension fund, 33% shareholder of Daybreak Food. So the government employee pension fund owns 33% of this company. Compensation fund, 33% of this company. The unemployment insurance fund, 33% of this company. So 33.3 times 3. Whoa, something's up here. Okay, let's try to find out what it is. Let's find calculator. I'm not good with math. Okay, don't charge. 99. Whoa, the government owns damn near 100% of this company, and money is going missing. Okay, not money is going missing, but it's going bankrupt, and then someone else buys into this company. So the government owns 99% of a poultry farm that was made to produce eggs and feed us chicken in South Africa. I don't think that's a coincidence. I do not think that's a coincidence. Hence, it's a huge thing. It made the news. It was about to go bankrupt.
Parties threatening liquidations against the entity. So when one looks at the vehicle around business rescue, what does it aim to achieve? Business rescue is supposed to result in a better return for creditors than an immediate liquidation. And ultimately, preservation of jobs is key at the end of the day, and to get the company back to its former glory in some manner, shape, or form. But the ongoing test is, will it result in a better return than an immediate liquidation? In the life of a business rescue, once a company goes into business rescue, a moratorium is then in place. It stops creditors instituting further legal proceedings against Daybreak. It gives it an opportunity to breathe. It's a window of opportunity for it to restructure its affairs, for the business rescue practitioner to get on board, identify what was the root cause of the financial collapse and why it ended up in that position. And from there, the practitioner will then have to start formulating a plan which will result in a return to creditors. And it's an ongoing test.
Yeah. Yeah, and you speak about the root cause, so the business rescue practitioner can get to that, but there are always early warning signs.
Look, in every company, there's early warning signs relating to its financial distress, and I think to a large extent, South African companies do not take, the warning signs seriously. And you generally look at lack of liquidity in terms of the company, lack of cash flow coming through these companies. You've got a weak debtors book, an aging debtors analysis. These are all signs that you start looking at in the marketplace. They're not always 100% perfect. Some industries are very different to others, but those are generally the warning signs that one starts to see coming out of a company tinkering into financial distress. Now, what we should be doing in South Africa, and this is something which we do with our team phenomenally well, we go in, we assess the companies and say, is this a candidate for a turnaround, informal workout? Is it a candidate for a business rescue? Is it a candidate for a liquidation and be traded out of a liquidation process? And not every company is a candidate for a business rescue. Some companies are just better suited going into liquidation and trading it out there. It depends upon the liabilities. It depends upon the sector. But in the life of Daybreak, I don't think they had an option but to file for a business rescue.
Yeah, but with the case of Daybreak and speaking about the 2,800 workers, our reporter Ndogozo Kumala has actually been focusing on this story for a couple of months now. Is the frustration that comes with the employees not being paid and the promises continuously coming through that you will be paid, you will be paid.
So under business rescue, there's a waterfall process for employees. So they will get paid through the process. And from what I understood is the employees are paid all the way up until the commencement of rescue. Effectively, the cash had run out at the time of the filing of business rescue. And that was where the money that was injected by the likes of the PRC are very much welcomed. They'll be allocated towards post-commencement funding for the purposes of the business rescue and also to pay the providers during that time. So the practitioner effectively, to put it back into very simple terms, he draws a line in the sand. Everything pre-business rescue will be subject of the business rescue plan, which we will see published on the 22nd of August. Everything post-rescue, the practitioner should be paying that in the ordinary course to the extent he has the means available to do so. Alternatively, he will have to classify that as post-commencement debtor or a post-commencement financier, and depending upon which way you then fall into a ranking. So employees will get their salaries out, even for services rendered post-rescue. Depending upon the cash flow, it may not always be immediate, i.e. at the end of the week. There may be a 2 or 3 day delay in between. But managing the financial affairs is a difficult task for the practitioner, bearing in mind he's got numerous sites to operate, got to keep the electricity on, security in place, and a number of other factors.
Yeah, just quickly on another matrix, which is now the transformation matrix, the PIC investing in this business. And I remember the executives being on the show, and their argument was that we're not getting the necessary support from the PIC, considering how difficult the industry is as well. Is that a legitimate defense to say that the reason why the business hasn't been doing so well is because we're not getting the support from one of our biggest financiers?
It's a difficult question to answer, and I'll tell you why. Because you need to look at what point in time were they asking for support from that investor. How far before the rescue? Was it when the first bailout was given? So one needs to put that back into the context and say, when did it occur at that point in time? Under a business rescue, remember, the practitioner's got quite a bit of powers afforded to him under Chapter 6 of the Companies Act. So if you have an investor that's not coming on board and not doing anything, the practitioner's plan could be, well, then I need to find a strategic equity partner and I need to bring them in. He also has the ability to go and source additional funding if he's able to do so from third parties or third-party financiers to the extent that the existing shareholder does not want to inject. So, and if you look at the lifeline of chickens in South Africa, I mean, the majority of meat consumed in the country is poultry. So
it's one of the cheapest proteins.
Correct. So it would be hard to not find an investor. And I think you will find a lot of parties in the marketplace wanting to buy up these operations. There is a market for it.
Yeah. Currently, I don't know how much you can speak to this about. Are there companies that have shown interest, like the likes of Astral Food?
I believe parties have reached to the practitioner, have asked for meetings. I believe there are some interested parties, but it's still early stages.
Still early stages. Just quickly before we conclude this chat as well. Speaking about a business rescue, it also sometimes.
Alright. Enough about that. Again, we'll have to keep our ears on the ground, see where this is going. But again, since the government owns 99.9% of the company, that sounds to me like what else, everything else that is going on around in the country. So yeah, that's current affairs at the moment. Remember, nothing is what it seems. Nothing is what it seems. Nothing is what it seems. Always look out for coincidences. Try to, match out the dates, the times, the who, the what, the when, and the why, and try to come up with your own opinions. And yeah, stay safe, stay sharp, and yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, gang. Shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out. Peace.